Hey everybody, this is Keddy, the Kedman Blumenthal, and you're watching Unity Gain. Hey everybody, we're glad you're here with us today. So this is a Sunday afternoon and we're just doing a little something special here. And Jeff's not here today, he's down at his studio at Stone Puppy Records. And we thought we would just kind of do another dual input video, so we'll cut away to his studio here in a little bit. But today I'll give you one guess what we're talking about. So these are some of my snare drums and some hand drums that I've acquired over the years, and I just wanted to tell you how I got them and what the deal is with them and a little history. And so I put a chair out there just in case Jeff decides to show up. I kind of don't think he will, but anyway, at least there's a chair there. And what are you doing here? You're not welcome here.
I can
No
be
one
here.
invited you. Why not? I don't care. I don't
Here.
care. I don't care. I really, come on, man. I really don't want you here. You really throw a wrench
What's
in
the
my
big deal?
process, you know? And I'd appreciate it if you would just...
Oh, I don't.
Okay, well listen. Sit there,
I'm not
be
leaving.
quiet, don't say anything. And don't touch anything. Every time you touch something of mine, you break it, all right? Leave your hands off my drums.
I don't
Just sit there
either.
and try to look the way you do. Okay.
So mean.
Sorry about the interrupt. Don't
You're mean.
talk. Just sit there. Sorry about the interruption. Anyway, let's get into this. So over the years, I've acquired quite a few different things in percussion and drums, and it's such a passion of mine. And we have some friends in our family that are missionaries in Cameroon, Africa, and they would come to the States and visit, and they would bring drums and show us these handmade drums from Cameroon, Africa. So I'm going to show you the first one here. This is really cool how they do these. It's just a log. They hollow the log out. They, shave it down to an edge here so there's a foot on it. And then they take a goat skin and they just roll the edge, they dry it out, and they put some rattan inside that roll. And then they use some type of fiber or twine, and they put another roll of rattan down here, and they make these wedges, and they just pound these down in there. And when they pound them down in there, they pull the head tight, and you got this cool drum. They don't sound the greatest, but they're beautiful. I think they're just really cool. So this is the first one, and every once in a while the head loosens up, you just kind of pound down on these and you can raise the pitch a little bit. But they're fun to play. What? Nothing.
Well, you're a good drummer.
Thank you. I know you're trying to win brownie points. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So the next one is really just like the first one. I got two of them, but just to show you as an example that they really just kind of use what they have access to. So this one is made exactly the same way. The design is pretty much the same. And then the twine was like this, looks like baling twine, but it's blue. And they just use what they got, so that's really neat. So sounds exactly like the other one. But that is the second one. And then I got this one. This is a really neat one. I like this one. This one's unique because it has some carving on it. You can see where they carved it. So I don't know if they stained the wood. They probably did. In fact, now I just saw this. It looks like they stained it. And then they carve out around it and they get the blonde color that shows through after you dig out the stain. So they have this really unique pattern. It almost looks like hieroglyphics. But anyway, these are from Cameroon, Africa. Same concept. This one's a little longer. It's a little nicer made and has a nice little slope to it. And then same thing, they just leave a foot on it. And then this one, the goat skin, they left the fur on it, which I think is really unique. It has a little warmer sound to it. And then they put a piece of rubber. It looks like those things you wipe your feet off in the front of a doorway that are put together with a bunch of tire treads. It's just a strip of rubber, looks like a tire, and they tack that on here. This one you can't really adjust the head, but it's got a warmer sound. All right, next one. This is a pretty cool one. Now, for some reason, I can never remember the name of this country in Africa, but my church has missionaries there. I never can remember the name of it, and I don't know why, but they brought one of these back for the church, and I liked it so much, and he surprised me, the husband surprised me and brought one back for me, and I've played it at church, and it's really, really neat. So this one's made in a different country in Africa, and you know, they finished them all off. It looks like they got shellac on them, and it's really, really cool. They have this beautiful weaving pattern here in this nylon or what cotton, whatever this, probably nylon rope is. It's a rope. But the unique thing about this, well, first of all, you'll notice it's the same concept. It comes down to a foot that's wider on the bottom, and it's just a hollowed out drum. This one's a lot longer. They give you a carrying thing. But this one is, I'm running out of room here, is made with a lizard skin. This has lizard skin on it. Now, you think about the width of this and wrap it up into a roll, that's still a pretty big lizard. So it's pretty neat. The thing with this though, when you feel it, listen, I'll let you hear it. It sounds like sandpaper. It's very coarse. And honestly, it's the scales of the lizard skin, and it's really thin. And honestly, you can't play it for a long time because it just kind of chews your hands up. But this is let's see how I can do this. This is a good sounding drum too. Very cool. Another African handmade drum. All right. So those are my African drums, and I love these things, and I cherish this stuff. It's such a passion of mine. And so I noticed your cups. You have to interrupt. Do you have to? I noticed the cups. What do you want? The cups. They're nice cups. Yeah. They're cool cups. The Unity Gain Show cups.
Mine looks old.
You got one over there too. It's not for you.
It looks old.
So what? It's the first cup we made. These are the newer ones. These are really cool.
I like
they
that
have our
one.
caricatures on them. See the caricatures on our cups?
This doesn't have that
Oh,
on it, so.
I didn't care about you enough to give you a better cup. That's an awesome cup. That's a classic. That's the first edition.
You're a classic.
They're not even available on eBay.
Yeah.
Probably because no one we've given them to has tried to sell them on eBay.
What have you
Just
mailed
be
out?
happy with
4
your
of
cup,
them?
okay?
I'm happy with my cup.
All right? Okay. Don't even touch it, you'll break it. There's nothing in it, they're just props. There's no water, no coffee, nothing.
Touched it.
So just leave it alone. All right. Anyway, on to the next drums. Okay, I'm gonna start with this red one first. Don't touch it, I've got it. I've got it, leave the drums alone. All right. Ugh. So this one is from my friend Scott Richardson. Shout out to Scott Richardson. He's an awesome guy, good friend of mine, and we used to work together for I think about 13 years. And anyway, he knows my passion. He's been to, when I was in the band Facing the Crowd, he's been to our concerts. We played at their church, and he was instrumental in getting us there. I just love Scott. He's a great guy. Well, he's a drummer as well, but he gave this to me one day. I didn't even know he had it. And he says, I got something for you. And it's been sitting for 35, 40 years in his mom and dad's closet. He used to play it in school. And he said that when they got it, it was at least 10, 15 years old when they got it used. And so it's probably around 55, 60 years old, roughly in there. Nothing super extravagant, because back in the day when they made snare drums, they didn't have the technologies that we have now. This is a drum that's made out of mahogany, and it's got its bearing rings in there, and the internal damper, which I never used internal dampers, but the original equipment is all here still. It's got a new strainer on it, put new heads on it. I've played this a little bit. It's in really, really good shape. I found a number inside and I Googled it, and it's a serial number, and actually it references the shape of this this badge. I don't know if you see it, the Slingerland badge. It's an oval badge, and it references it back about 55 years. So this is an older drum, and it sounds like a wood drum. It sounds like an inexpensive student model wood drum, because that's what just about everything was back in the day. Today we would call that a student model. So this is a wonderful drum.
That's a long time
Yeah,
ago.
many years ago. No, there were cars. It wasn't horse and buggy. I'm not that old. Okay, hush.
Oh, I doubt it.
So, oh, he's so annoying, isn't he? So anyway, the sparkle is very cool. All right, next. All right, this is a Pacific Drum Company drum, and it's a 10-inch drum instead of a traditional 14-inch drum. And this is not a really expensive drum. I think I paid $100 for it, but I wanted a smaller piccolo style drum. And so I went up to the music store and I got this, and this actually sounds really good. It's made really well. And so anyway, that's what this is. It's just a smaller drum. I use this at church, and I would use it to do like in the bridge of a song, would go into something that had a little bit of snare drum activity, like a march kind of a feel or something. And would use this drum, and it just sounds really, really good. I really like this drum. So that's my Pacific Drum Company drum. Moving on. So this is a heavy drum, and this is a Mapex drum. This is the Mapex Steel Black Panther series. It's a steel drum, and it's got a black nickel finish on it. But this was the first drum I had that had cast hoops. So like on these other drums, they're just rolled, flanged, pressed metal. This is a cast hoop where they, pour the metal cast it. It's die cast. And I'll tell you what, when you're coming down with the stick and you smack your knuckle doing a flam or a gawk or a rim shot on that with the stick above it, and you come down, it hurts and it draws blood generally. The flange tubes, not so much. These are extremely dense, but man, they have such a crack to them. They sound so good, and they're very loud. But sometimes you need that, sometimes you don't. So this is a drum that I really like this drum. This is an extremely well-made drum. And then the head I put on it was an Evans head, and Evans came out with these heads that, I don't know if you can see the pattern on it or not. All these hash mark looking things, almost looks like a snakeskin, kinda. Or not snakeskin, but a Kevlar. But they came out with these heads, and these were used a lot for marching drums. You can really put a lot of tension on them. So the reason I put it on the steel drum is so I can really crank these down and get a lot of tension on this head, but really get a strong, tight pitch out of it, and it sounds like a marching drum. So that's why it's on here, because I use it a lot for that too. I love playing marching style music, incorporating it into my other music. It's a lot of fun. But that's my Mapex Black Panther. Moving on.
You need an assistant.
Yeah, that would be nice to have an assistant. Hey,
I could be your assistant.
nah, you'll break it. All right, this is my latest acquisition. Oh, it's a heavy drum. When I'm not faking it, this is a heavy drum, and I'll show you why. This drum is made by Orange County Percussion. Really cool fade and a sparkle. Very nice drum. I love this. And it's got the black nickel, again, cast hoops. So I was up at Guitar Center. I was with my daughter. We were messing around, looking at stuff, just kind of window shopping. And I started playing on this, and I fell in love with the sound of this drum, the sensitivity, the response of it, and the hoops. And it just turned out to a really good sounding drum, and it has a huge crack to it. And I'll show you why. You can see it through the bottom. This is why this is so heavy. Look at the shell thickness on this. This drum is 21 plies thick, and you can see from there to there, yeah, the head's on it, but you can see how thick that is. And I believe that is 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches, I think I remember reading about it. But that is a massively thick piece of wood, and it weighs a ton. And the advantage is you get a really, really great sound out of this drum, a really nice, meticulous sound. And you can tune this head and tweak that and get exactly what you're after. I would like someday to have a bell brass snare drum where they're not just brass, they're bell brass, out of cast bell brass. But man, they're a couple $1,000s, so I don't know if that's gonna happen. But anyway, there you go. That is my Orange County percussion snare drum in a sparkle silver fade. Beautiful drum. I love this drum. And that kind of does it for my drum. See if I can put this down without breaking my fingers. Oh, that is a heavy drum. That probably weighs 25 pounds. So anyway, glad you could make it. You've been pretty good. I'm glad you're here, I suppose. Kept me company, and I won't edit you out of the video. I'll let you stay in it, all right? So
I tried to be quiet.
sorry about all the mean things I said. I'm glad you're here.
I forgive you.
Just don't touch anything.
Thank you.
Always breaking stuff.
Don't touch anything.
Anyway, this is Keddy. Let's go over to Jeff's studio, and then he'll close it out from there. Thanks.
Hi, Jeff.
Don't forget to push record. Push record.
Hey everybody, Jeff E. Reed here down at Stone Puppy Records. This is the Unity Gain Show. Anyways, Keddy and I were in here last Thursday and we were laying down drums for our new song. And I mic'd up my kick drum a little differently than I usually do. And man, we got some really killer sounds out of it. So I was gonna show you that today. Plus, last time I did a drum miking video, my tom-tom mic was not in the right spot, and it is right now, so I will show you that too. Anyways, let's get into it. So if you remember from last time when I had the drum miking video, I showed you this microphone, and it is in exactly the same spot as it was before. I didn't want to move it because I wasn't sure if this miking technique was going to be good for me. So the new miking technique that I'm using on the kick drum called for the sound hole mic to be inside the drum and closer to the beater head. And the theory was behind that is that you would get more of that click, more of that attack. You'd be able to hear that beater slap against that head and give you a nice click at the beginning of the sound. But because I didn't know if this system was going to work for me, I went ahead and just left this mic where I normally have it. That way, if I didn't use that other sound or that other microphone channel, I could still get the kick drum sound that I usually like. But in addition to my regular mic, this is an Octava 319, and it's been laying around the studio for many years. I think it was one of the first microphones I ever bought. But anyways, yeah, I set that about 3 inches from the kick drum head and away from the sound hole. I figured that the wind from the sound hole would mess with the large diaphragm. But the sound that we got from this system is incredible. And next time we record some drums, I'm going to go ahead and put this microphone inside the drum and closer to the beater head so I can hear that slap of that beater on that back head. And hopefully that'll give me a harder attack. But as is, it sounds great. I can't wait for everybody to hear that song because it's going to be awesome. Okay, so here's my tom-toms, and this is my Audio Technica 3025 or 2035. I don't know why I can't remember that. But anyways, this is more like it. This is how I keep it. It's above the drums, kind of pointed down. It's about 12 inches back. So if you went 12 inches back from the center of the tom-tom heads and then straight up about, I don't know, 6 inches, and then just point it at that 12-inch center mark. That's it. And like I said before, this microphone's really hot. So if I was having a hard time keeping it from clipping, I might even raise it up a little bit higher or move it back a little farther. But you don't want to get too far away. Anyway, that's it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.